Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee. In this show, we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Slim Dayspring 12. That's Slim, SLYM. If you get the reference, you found the right show, ladies and gentlemen. So, we are here to talk Superman, the brand new movie, but I'm not here alone. With me is Monel himself, Mr. Patrick McGahee.
Yay!
Yay! All right, guys. So that's right, Superman. I wanted to talk about it. I have seen the movie twice.
Be sure you say Superman 2025.
Exactly. Well, the original one is Superman the movie.
Yeah, but when you see like it reference to the other movies, it just says Superman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, like, if you say Superman, it's this movie. You could say Superman the movie, which is Christopher Reeves, and then all the other ones have other titles as well.
Why have we always got like trouble with these titles like Superman v Batman or whatever?
I know I know. Well, the other ones you still had Superman the movie, Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Wait, I seen your list. By the way, I want to bring this up. You put Superman 4 above Superman 3.
Okay. Here's my thing about Superman 4, okay? It is a horrible movie. I feel about this the way I feel about Batman and Robin. They are terrible movies, but they're so terrible they're fun to watch. Like the third Superman movie or the third Batman movie, Batman Forever, they're like kind of like they've got their toe dipped in like both camps, from like,
Your perspective, that would be Batman and Robin over Batman Forever.
yes, I have. If you look at my Batman list, I have Batman and Robin over Batman Forever. I just get more enjoyment because it is so silly and stupid, and that's how the way I feel about Superman 4 versus Superman 3 is I get so much more enjoyment because they are so fun to watch because they're so stupid.
I think 3 just kind of scared you as a child.
What Batman or Superman?
Superman 3.
Oh, well, with a drunk Superman there.
Well, not drunk Superman, but what's her name at the end, getting all stuck in
Oh,
the
that
machines and everything.
I don't remember being
That
afraid.
that was probably the most horror centric Superman has ever been.
That's true. I mean, it was probably the scariest. Yes, I do agree. The scariest Superman movie or scene.
I had a nightmare or two about that.
Oh, really? I don't think I ever had nightmares about it. But anyway, let's move on, guys, because we're here to talk about the newest Superman movie, directed by James Gunn, kicking off the DCU. Came out this week. Patrick and I were able to get to the advanced Amazon screening on Tuesday when saw it. I myself have seen it once more since then on Thursday.
There were so many Superman shirts. I felt like I was on Krypton,
dude. Yeah, and they're all House of Jor-El. That's what it is. It was like a House of Jor-El family picnic. Because they all have the same crest on, right?
Hey, let's get out the family slides.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I went and saw it again. So I've seen it twice. Patrick, you've only seen it the once, right?
Yeah, I'll probably see it a second time when it comes out on 4K.
No, I'm going again tomorrow. I've fought the urge the last couple of days to go see it again and again. So we're going to talk about this, guys. Of course, we're going to go full spoilers. If you have not seen this movie, obviously pause, go watch it, come back, and then watch it again, and then watch it again, and then come back and listen if you want. So that's what you should do, in my opinion. But we're going to talk it full spoilers, of course. But before I dive into the actual movie, when we do these things, I like to give the audience a little background as far as fandom goes. So I'll start with myself, and I just want to kind of talk about how big of a Superman fan we each are, really. And for me, I think everyone who knows me. I'm a big Superman guy. I prefer Superman over Batman. Just like I prefer Captain America over Iron Man. Those are, I tend to lean more towards those type of characters. I'm not really the edgy guy. I really don't like Punisher. Batman's just a whiny baby. It's not anything. No, I'm kidding. Batman's fine, but I prefer Superman. The first kind of Superman I remember reading is Death of Superman. When we were kids, that's kind of where I remember starting to read Superman comic books. And
I think we were more involved with the reign of Superman before the death of Superman, really.
I mean, I'm not quite sure. I mean, I remember walking.
Because we didn't have any single issues of Death of Superman.
I remember walking. Oh yeah, I remember walking into the comic book store on Saturday morning, and it was busy. And I'm like, whoa, the comic book store is busy today.
Yeah.
It was because Superman
I
75.
vaguely remember Superman 75.
75, and everyone was there. And that was one of those rare occasions where Dad actually picked up a comic as well.
Yeah.
You know, so he grabbed that. And that's kind of what first I remember. And then I remember we went through the Reign of the Superman, the Return of Superman, and therefore. And, you know, I remember reading, there was a couple years, late high school, early college, where I kind of wasn't reading comics just because what little money I had was going towards other things. And then later in college, I picked comic books back up, picked Superman back up. So there was a couple of years. Basically, I skipped the Electric Blue years. Those are kind of when I was out of it a little bit. So thankfully, I skipped that whole phase of Superman. But been reading Superman ever since. I wasn't a fan of the New 52 Superman. I hated when they rebooted Superman for New 52, gave him a whole new origin, all that stuff. Was not a fan of that.
I didn't like the beginning of New 52 Superman, but I kind of like the end of it.
I like the end of it
for the the original Superman returns.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so when they brought back original Superman Rebirth, that's when I was like, okay, cool. And it was a cool dynamic too, where it was like all the other Justice League heroes were like, it's Superman, but not our Superman, and like Batman was all suspicious of him and stuff like that
Right.
too. So,
and of course, the big thing was you got to have John finally.
Yeah, exactly. And John Kent was really big, as far as giving it another layer to Superman.
I mean, especially Batman having all his kids and everything.
Yeah,
it's like Superman needed to have a kid.
And it kicked off, one of the more famous friendships now in DC Comic, which is Damian and John.
Super Son.
Super Son, that's right, exactly. So that was kind of cool. So again, that's kind of, I'm still reading Superman comics to this day. As far as Superman and media, a big Smallville guy. I love Superman and Lois. Superman animated series is great. My Adventures with Superman, I'm not a big fan of the first season, but I really like the second season of it. The thing about that show is I'm not a big anime guy, and it's very much anime style, which threw me off.
I think it's aimed towards younger kids too.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is aimed towards younger kids too. So it kind of threw me off a little bit. But again, I liked season 2 a lot. Looking forward to season 3 of that coming out. So that kind of gives you kind of reference. I'd say I'm a pretty big Superman fan. Pat, where do you say you fall on the Superman fandom, and maybe what are some of your favorite Superman things?
Okay, I'd say he probably lands like 4 or 5 on my list.
As far as like favorite heroes?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, okay. He's down the list. Of course, Spider-Man's number 1, Batman's close second. Hulk's my 3rd favorite. So those are kind of the big 3 titles I've collected for like 4 decades now.
You've always been a Spider-Man Hulk guy. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, Reign of Superman, I think, is where we really kind of, niched in because, there was a kind of us four friends back in the day. And each of us kind of had our own little favorite Superman.
You were Cyborg Superman, weren't you?
I almost thought for sure that was Superman. I mean, he got beat up so much. So why wouldn't he have some artificial limbs or something like that?
Oh, you turned out to be wrong. It's all right.
Polar opposite. He was the bad guy the whole
he was the bad guy the whole time. Exactly. So.
But yeah, I pick up Superman titles here and there. I mean, mainly when it like crosses over with Batman or it's some kind of anniversary, like Action Comics 1000.
Yeah. I mean, those are kind of the few occasions where I actually, I read a lot of all mine digital nowadays, but I'll go a number 1,000 or 1,050. I'll go into the comic store and actually pick up an issue.
Yeah, like I said, DC. I'm not too big DC. I'm mostly Marvel. I collect Batman, but I usually get the event books. That's what usually draws me to DC is the event books, crises and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, the big stuff. As far as like media, what are some of your favorite Superman media as far as shows or movies?
I mean, I'm right there with you with Smallville and everything else. There wasn't really too much of a love for it other than like Lois and Clark here and there, just like single episodes. But
yeah, I remember us watching the premiere episode of Lois and Clark in our parents' bedroom because they were watching something out in the living room, but we wanted to watch this new Superman show. So I remember we watched it in their TV in their bedroom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then it's like now that we're all grown up, there's all kinds of different stars that we didn't really know about back then. Like there was an episode that had Bruce Campbell was a bad guy and everything. And
all the guest stars too, definitely. Yeah. I mean, as far as like I said, I'm a big Smallville guy myself. And I really like Superman and Lois. The thing is, I've said this to myself, but I don't think I've really said anybody this. I like those 2 shows because they hit me at the right time in my life. Because like Smallville came out when I was a teenager. The show was about teenage Clark Kent finding his way in the world, discovering who he is, who he's going to be. And of course, I was a teenager at the time, doing that myself as well.
Right.
Now we had Superman and Lois, and that story is about Superman. He's got a wife, a kid. He's trying to do the work-life balance, is whatever. And of course, that follows kind of my point in my life right now too. So the two shows that just came along
You
the
see
right
parallels.
exactly parallels. Things I can relate to. So those two shows I really like just because they hit me, at the right time in my life too.
Right.
Exactly. So
that's why I relate to Spider-Man, because my life is such a shit show a lot of times.
All right. Well, that's a different show. Okay. I think it's called Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil.
But we're not here to talk about it.
Okay.
All right. So let's dive into Superman 2025. Let's start with this, I guess. How much were you anticipating this movie? Were you excited, not excited? Were you leaning more towards, oh, I hope it's, not going to be too funny? What were your initial thoughts before you walked into the movie, I guess?
I just didn't want it to be too hokey, too woke, or whatever they say. And
they're saying woke, yes.
But I mean, going into it, you knew it was going to be more or less the biggest, comic book version of Superman we've ever seen. So
yeah.
I mean, the big complaint with a lot of people is that there's too many characters like jammed in there. Because I mean, especially when you compare it to other Superman movies, where he's pretty much the only superpowered person besides the bad guy in a lot of them. So.
Yeah, and that's what you get with a lot of movies, aside from say the MCU. Most superhero movies that we're used to is like.
Would you say this is like an MCU Superman?
Yeah, I mean it's a shared universe. Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of the thing about this movie as well is we're used to getting an origin story first, but given that this is a new version of Superman, but we don't get an origin story with this one, it's almost like this is like the sequel.
I actually read that at the beginning, how they have like a bunch of words and everything about what's happened before and stuff. That was actually David Cornsweet that like recommended that they do that and everything.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I like how they do that because it
gives you a little summary of what happened.
Yeah. People are comparing it to like the Star Wars scroll, to kind of help set up the story and stuff like that. I liked how it kind of went three centuries ago, and 3 decades ago, and 3 years ago, and 3 minutes ago.
You're bringing up Star Wars. That's a funny little quirk too. Is like David Cornsweet said that if he was asked to do Star Wars, he would quit Superman.
Well, I think he said that the other part of that is they said that because he's already under contract with Superman, he could get a new, better contract with Star Wars for a new role.
I even seen his wife got him like a Lego Millennium Falcon after shooting or something.
Yeah. I just posted this. I shared it to my friends where he's like, "So what do you do opening weekend?" And I was like, "Well, my wife got me the Millennium Falcon as a kind of a opening weekend present, so I think I'm going to spend the weekend building that." Is what he said. So yeah, he's a big Star Wars fan.
Death Star, but
Yeah, well, hey, Millennium Falcon, I would take that. So that's awesome. But okay, so let's just jump right in. Give me your initial thoughts on the movie. Liked it, not liked it. Give me some things you did like, some things you didn't like.
Well, I've been kind of holding back a little bit, but I almost kind of say that I liked it as much as I like Man of Steel.
Okay.
There was, now that you've seen, if you've seen both the movies, and there's parts of Man of Steel that really do click and everything. I would say like the costumes is a big thing for me. I mean, this, I'm not too fond of this S.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing the Kingdom Come S in this new movie.
Yes.
And in Kingdom Come, that usually represents something more cynical, darker kind of future. Where this is the opposite. This is a brighter, like kind of future and everything. But I don't know. That's just the small things about his costume, and I mean, they did good things like Pa Kent and everything. Because I mean, I still see memes about Kevin Costner. No, my invulnerable son, don't save me, and stuff like that.
That's it was one of the things for the Man of Steel trailer when they had that come out. The Man of Steel trailer came out, and he was like, "What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?" And he said, "Maybe." I cringed so hard on that trailer, and I was like, "Please tell me that's just a trailer edit, and those lines don't go together in the movie." Yeah. And then as soon as I saw the movie and they went together, I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah. Another thing too is like I don't know, Zack Snyder. He knows how to put a shot together. I mean, the frames in his movie. If you pause his frames compared to the new one, here and there, but it's just like Gunn, he did it all though on this movie. He didn't just direct and write. He did like a producing.
Credit, all he's producer, director, writer. Yeah,
he's the president of DC at this point. So
it was all on him, is what it was. Like a lot of people
that was the one thing I was kind of iffy about, because he is divided up in so many sectors of DC right now. How could he concentrate on one story like that?
So I read it was an interview. It was the one he did with Dak Shepard. It was a really good interview. You should go and watch it. But basically, he was talking about in 1 year he wrote over 600 pages because he wrote Creature Commandos, Superman, and then Peacemaker season 2, all in 1 year. Is what he said. And he got to the end of the year where he was kind of like falling behind on Peacemaker season 2. He's like, I gotta finish this because I'm about to go into pre-production on Superman, and I don't have time to write this, so I gotta finish it before I start production on Superman.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that eventually he starts trusting someone enough to start like piecing this stuff out, because as much as I'd want him to keep doing this, he can't do it all on his own.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like one of those things where you know how like on a series premiere, you usually get somebody really famous or something to direct the first one to kind of set the tone.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what he did. Like he wanted to do the first one so he could set the tone for the rest of the universe.
Right. That's what I want to see, kind of a transition of like Joss Whedon to the Russo brothers kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, I feel like he's probably going to take, after Peacemaker season 2 comes out, he's probably going to take a step back and do more producing. I think he's still going to write because from what he says, writing is more of his passion than say even directing.
Yeah.
So I can see him helping write stuff and then maybe not doing so much directing.
Yeah.
Is what I think.
That's what I'm hoping he's going to do, and not like, keep trying to do it himself and it becomes more watered down as it goes on.
Yeah. I mean, because like then he essentially is in that Kevin Feige role. And can you imagine Kevin Feige trying to do it all?
I was going to say he's front and center, except for that.
Exactly.
But no, just one thing that I really didn't like about the story was his parents.
Mm-hmm. So let's dive into that, because that's one of those things where I kind of had a little issue with. But you go first.
Well, I mean, they said that he was sent to Earth to pretty much rule it. Is what they went for.
Oh, you're talking about his Kryptonian parents. I was talking about his Earth parents.
No, I'm on Paul. I think they did a great job. I like that they weren't known names, that they weren't like big faces that we knew.
They weren't people that looked like they're just aging actors.
They actually looked like, farmers or something like that, But it's just like his origin, they changed that. I know that there's been different variations of it in the comic and everything, but in the mainstream DC, they've never said, "Hey, Jor-El sent you to Earth to rule here," and everything.
Yeah, not in the comics. I mean, they kind of played with that in Smallville a little bit.
I've seen people mention this online too and everything, and they're saying, "Oh, it's like Invincible." No, go further back. That's like Dragon Ball. Okay, Dragon Ball. Goku was sent to Earth to rule it because his race, the Saiyan race, were power brokers, more or less. They were sent to different Earths or different planets to rule it, and then they sell it to the highest bidder.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, of course, you always have that overlap of story. I'm like, oh, that looks like that, or that looks like this story. I totally understand.
I feel like that was probably a very argumentative decision between James Gunn and like the story and everything else.
I mean, I think here's just kind of going with the parents.
I wish Lex would have manipulated that clip rather than reveal that they actually did do
that. I understand that. I totally get where you're coming from on that. Because when it comes to just his parents in general, like again with interpretations, it seems like in the more modern interpretations, it's more Martha and Jonathan Kent are kind of the way he is and how he is versus Jor-El and Laura.
Oh yeah. Again, I mean, go to like Red Sun and everything. He was raised by someone different.
Yeah, exactly. Same exact thing, just raised in Russia instead of Kansas farmers. So to me, it was like getting them the ones that we have, and I saw this in the trailer where she's like, "I'll get your boots," and I'm like, God, are they going to be like redneck hillbillies or something like that? And that was kind of my fear with that. But then again, I've been watching a lot of interviews and stuff with James Gunn, and he talked about kind of how he casted them and how he set up the Kent farm, because usually the Kent farm, you got a big house and a big barn and lots of land and all this other stuff. He's like, when James Gunn said he grew up in small town Missouri, he's like, I wanted their farm to look more like the farms I grew up with, which is really just a house with some land and some animals on it, is what it was. He said too, and not make him seem more of that rather than like you said, aging actors or something like that too.
I think it's kind of funny that now we're at the point in all these movies where they're all like, I don't want to retell the origin and stuff like that, and they were like, I want my movie to be more comic booky, have an origin. But your movie's got to be more comic booky because not every issue retells the origin. You just jump right into the story.
Yeah, exactly. And then so with this movie, with his parents, again, he's in this movie, he's very much he's kind of pointing towards he does what he does because of that first half of the message. Hey, my parents said they sent me to Earth to help humanity. Okay, then that I'm gonna put everything into that, and that's why it's so devastating when he hears the second part of the message.
Yeah, I think it was just reassurance. I don't think he does it because of that message. I think he does it because of his actual parents.
He probably he was already going that way.
He was raised that way.
Exactly. I get you. Yeah. I totally understand that.
Yeah, that was just like an extra layer of reassurance that hey, I am doing the right thing.
Yeah, and then he gets the second half of the message, and he starts to question himself and kind of what he's doing and why he was sent there. Really, but
I am kind of surprised about he never met Lex before this. He's been around.
He's been up for 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the first time he met Lex.
Yeah.
It's all like, this guy's been your mortal enemy for a while. It seems. It's
well,
like you probably.
I don't think. I mean, it took a while for Lex to really probably. Lex. He's a calculator. He's a smart guy. He's playing the long game. So it probably
he's got a very high pitched voice in this movie too. By the way, this is the most high pitched I've ever heard Lex Luthor.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah,
especially compared to like Clancy Brown animated series and everything.
Clancy Brown, Superman animated, that's my favorite Lex.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I love Michael Rosenbaum, but I think Clancy Brown is probably still my favorite Lex.
That's the voice I think of when I read
that's what I'm saying. Comics. Yeah, when I read Superman comics, I think of the animated series voices. Now, Batman, I used to think of the Batman animated series. Now,
George Clooney?
No, I read the recent the DC animated shared universe they did with Bad Blood and Son of Batman and all that.
Yeah.
I think more of that voice of Batman now when I'm reading comics now too. So
it's funny. It's like the closer we get to another live action, but I keep seeing like Jensen Ackles' name keep popping up. So his voice has been in my head a lot lately. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he did that animated Batman, the year one animated.
He was Red Hood.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he did Red Hood as Jason Todd, but he voiced Batman in the year one animated movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. But just to close out the parents, like I said, he gets that breakdown from the second half of the message, and then it's the Kents or his dad who kind of has to like reassure him. He's like, hey, you're who you are. What you do. It's not. That's all that matters and stuff like that, and kind of props him back up, right. I guess is what it is. So I wasn't big on the Kents compared to what we had got of the Kents in the past. Mm-hmm. But again, it fits with what this movie is. So I'm totally fine.
That's
with
what they're supposed to be, like background characters. They're not supposed to be doing a bunch of significant stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They're not supposed to play as big a role as we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
I think with that too. So
I read earlier that what's her name that plays Lois Lane? Her and Dave Cornswet both got paid the same amount.
Yes,
that's unusual.
I know. Well, they've been going the highest paid actor.
I mean, I'm not saying that as being like sexist or anything, but just the pure fact that he's on the screen like way more than she is and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but I mean, it's really
this isn't Superman and Lois, right?
Right. I mean, she had an important part, but yeah, I mean, the highest paid actor was Nicholas Hoult.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he got paid $2 million.
Oh, I didn't know
but
that.
And people are complaining about that too. I'm like, well, Superman should be paid the highest, and I'm like, Nicholas Hoult has been around so much longer. Is more well known.
Let's go back to '89 Batman. Jack Nicholson eclipsed Michael Keaton.
Well, Marlon Brando, I'm sure got paid way more than Christopher Reeve.
Oh yeah,
Marlon Brando was in 5 minutes of movie.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So it depends. It's like one of those things too, with like going back to say Iron Man, where Terrence Howard was the highest paid actor on that movie, and then everyone else got raises for the next one. And either he didn't or he didn't get as good a raise, so he quit.
Next time, baby.
Next time. Which there was no next time. Sorry. No next time for you, buddy.
Again, that would be like the ultimate taboo thing to do is have Terrence Howard come forward as the bad guy in Secret Wars or something like that,
Secret Wars. I want to see Don Cheadle versus Terrence Howard War Machines. Yeah. Yep. That's what I want to see. Perfectly. You got it there. So, yeah, they did. They got paid the same, which, I mean, you can say...
It's unusual, but I mean, I kind of like it though. I mean, it shows a lot of equality and everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to bring this up too. Is when they cast Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, I had watched the Amazon show The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel that she was the star of, that she won Emmys for. She was an Emmy winner.
Hey, there's so many times in this movie she looks just like Margot Kidder.
Yeah, she got that Margot Kidder look. Yeah, exactly. But like when they said that, like when they cast her, said Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, I'm like, perfect, because what she does in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is so much of Lois and her rapport. I'm like, perfect casting, love it, great. So when you look at the salaries, I'm like, okay, well, she's an Emmy winner, okay, who had a hit show. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're going to pay her maybe a little more than you normally would. perhaps,
right.
for that instance. So, but yes, they got paid the same. I'm totally fine with that. I'm sure the next paycheck on the next movie is going to be a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, that's Lois isn't going to join the Justice League or anything, so
Well,
I'm sure.
and they were talking too in one of the interviews. It was
or the Justice Gang. Sorry.
they were talking in one of the interviews. It was one where it was 50 Superman questions, I think is the YouTube video of the four of them sitting there, and they're answering 50 questions about Superman, and basically really just James Gunn answering all the questions because he knows all the stuff about it. And they're talking about, does Lois get superpowers? And he's like, well, there are several times in the comics, especially recently, she got superpowers. And Rachel's like, well, I want superpowers. I want superpowers. And we're like, well, we'll see down the road,
Yeah, right.
We'll see down the road. Maybe if you stick around long enough, maybe you'll get superpowers for that. I mean, and of course, there are several interpretations. I remember Smallville, Lois got powers one time. Lois and Clark, she got powers one time.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Even in other media, there are times where she did get powers as far as that.
Right.
Okay, so let's dive in character by character. David Cornsweet as Clark Kent / Superman. Thoughts?
I think he did all right.
I think it's a different Superman because when you look,
it's like this. I think if Henry Cavill was given this role today, like he's same age what he was in Man of Steel, I think he would have nailed it maybe a little better.
It's a different because this one, to me, Superman is one of those things where, for most interpretations, Christopher Reeve and especially Dean Cain, Tyler Hoechlin, I forget how you say his last name, but their Superman is very strong, where he's like, he says something and he's like, he puts conviction behind it, where like, this is the right thing to do,
Right.
Where this Superman, David Cornsweet, he's like, I'm just trying to do the right thing, man. He's like, it's more like I'm just trying to do the right thing. I think this is the right thing. That's what I'm doing.
He's a little goofier in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just a little more. Again, not really more reassuring. More, I don't even want to say hesitant about it.
I think they were trying for optimism with him.
Yes. Yeah. More. Exactly. More optimism. I mean, like I said, this is the Superman who, compared to Henry Cavill, he goes and he saves squirrels, and he goes out of his way to save people in a fight rather than focus on the fight.
It's like, if he's saving squirrels, that guy can't sleep at night.
Exactly.
So much stuff going on in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It goes back to the classic, Christopher Reeves pulling a cat out of a tree.
Yeah. Hey, when did Jimmy Olsen get hot? It's like all these girls are all after Jimmy Olsen in the movie.
Well, right now in the comic books, he's dating Silver Banshee. Now, but yeah, I thought that was
this is the first interpretation I've seen where he's like a girl magnet.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was interesting the way they did that, because it gave him more to do with the story rather than just be there. He actually had something to do with the storyline.
I think to give that a little more legitimacy, he should have been like, saying, "Oh, I'm Superman's pal" or something like that.
Yeah,
and that's why people appeal to him more.
And of course, now they're talking. They want to do a possible spinoff with him and him and one with Mr. Terrific. I could see, like, I don't say maybe not a series, but I could see like kind of like a mini series. Give me like 5 or 6 half-hour episodes of just like Jimmy Olsen hijinks. I mean, because you think about it too. Because you think about, we're in a well-established world of superheroes, okay, and to get kind of the normal guy's perspective of living in this world,
right?
Something like that.
Yeah,
I think it would be interesting.
Kind of like Marvels or something like that.
Yeah, well, they used to have that one show on NBC. They did. What was it with Vanessa Hudgens, where they were like Alan Tudyk, or that one where it was like they made stuff for superheroes and stuff.
See, this is why I kind of think that Marvel, one way that they've kind of falter is that they've gone on to make side characters more prominent characters. That I don't think really worked out too well with them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the big one for me was, of course, Agatha. I mean, there was nothing that kind of said, "Hey, we need to make an Agatha series."
Although I did enjoy it, but yes, I understand.
I mean, it had its points, but at the same time, it was just like, whatever.
Yeah, I understand.
It's just like they do stuff like that where they take these side characters and make them more prominent. And then I feel like it takes away from the main character. And then you've got the main characters not doing anything. And it's just like, come on, this is what all started everything.
Yeah, I think you're really wrong with that as far as Marvel, as far as like they've taken their side characters and made them more prominent, and people are like, we don't care.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We want our main characters back.
It's like I want to see the main character of the show that I'm watching, not like,
Mm-hmm.
the paper boy or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, well, you could say maybe the Marvels be like, well, I want a true Captain Marvel sequel, not this with Photon and Ms. Marvel who are from some Disney Plus shows,
Right.
Something like that.
Let's talk Ultraman.
You want to talk Ultraman? We're gonna dive into Ultraman. We're just gonna skip. Okay.
Why are there 3 different disguises for Ultraman?
I know, right?
Or 2, I guess.
Well, because he was the ruse of the hammer of Bolivia or something like that.
Right.
Is what it was. That was Lex Luthor's ruse, and then of course he had his black costume as Ultraman, which was ultimately just hiding the fact that he was Superman clone. Okay, which we all knew.
Yeah.
Anyone who had common sense.
Well, it's like this also. If you lived in that world, and there's a guy named Ultraman running around, and he's a very public figure, and he's got powers like Superman, you want to know what he looks like, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he was a public figure because Lex was trying to sell him as part of the government group. I understand that too.
And of course, when he got unmasked, I've already told you this. It's like Superman 4 all over again. With the mullet and
yeah. I remember
a Superman clone.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw the long hair, I was thinking absolute Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, Al's calling me. Al, I'll have to call you back, bud. Okay. He's probably calling. It means he just saw Superman. He wants to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Is what it is. That's usually what it is. So
you should have got him on her.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to fly him out to.
I'm saying you should have got him on the phone.
Yeah, should have. Whatever. But yeah, I wanted him to come out and watch Superman with me, but he's busy doing stuff. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ultraman. It was one of the things where. I talked a little bit about this after the movie. It's like it seems like they're going to set him up to be more of a Bizarro character.
Yeah.
Because Lex was he really wasn't doing his own fighting. Lex was, calling out the moves for him. Like Lex had programmed, I guess, the moves in there, and Lex was pretty much playing chess.
Yeah.
He was knight to B1 or blah blah blah. He was calling out all the moves because Lex had finally gotten the brawn that he needed to take on Superman. So for me, it was like Lex felt like he was actually fighting Superman because he was the one making all the decisions. It was just like, yes, Ultraman was doing the hitting, but Lex felt like he was the one actually fighting Superman.
Yeah, let's talk about Lex's intentions a little bit too here, because that is one thing I've noticed too that got brought up a few times online is his need for real estate.
Yes, of course. That's always been a thing. I mean, going back to Superman the movie, Superman Returns. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's the one thing they're not making any more of.
Yeah. It's just like, I guess this guy just wants more land. That's all he really wants.
Well, he wants like Lois said in the movie. He's like he wants to be king. He wants to get his own piece of land and then start his own country where he can, then use his brain to be more advanced than everybody else.
Yeah.
But also, then there was the mention early on where Lex said, be like, hey, I started this whole 2-country conflict as a way to really kill Superman too, because he started the conflict because he knew Superman was going to intervene, which then the government would then give Lex approval to go after him.
Right. Yeah, his intentions were a little more straightforward. He wasn't really trying to hide too much other than, what he was actually doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he would have gotten the land, but I think the other thing was like, hey, this is gonna show the government or have the government give me permission to go after him.
Yeah.
Is what it was. And then since we're talking about kind of that kind of on it as well, you got the line at the end of the movie with Flag and the other guy where it's like, well, the metahumans are running the show now. Because Superman, not the first metahuman, but when you look at him compared to, say, the Justice Gang, they were, they're privately owned by Max Lord, but they didn't cross, international borders. They abided by the law, so to speak.
Yeah,
okay,
because they're a corporation.
Exactly. Superman was the first one to say, hey, these people need help. I don't care if they're from another country. I'm going to go help them, right?
Yeah, that's always been the fine line of Justice League is like, stepping over borders like that and everything.
Yeah, well, it goes back to Captain America's Civil War. Steve Rogers is like, what if there's somewhere we need to go and they don't let us? What if there's somewhere we don't think we should go and they tell us to go,
Yeah, that goes back a lot further than that movie.
Yeah, it goes back, yeah, further than that too. But now it's like they have that where Superman's the first one, and then at the end of the movie, you see he inspired the Justice Gang to do not what they're supposed to do. And then you have the guy at the other side. It's like, before we could control the metal humans, now we can't control them.
Right.
It's kind of what he said at the end. And, Rick Flag's sitting there, and he's got some wheels turning, so we'll see maybe what's going on in his head at that point. Maybe in Peacemaker or in further movies for that. But that was interesting. How again, it used to be that in a lot of like the movies or whatever, Superman was really important because he was either A, the strongest, or B, the first superhero.
Right.
But in this one, he's not really. I mean, Ultraman obviously matches him, and then he's not really the first as well. He's just the first one to be like, probably in a long time, be like, hey, these people need help. I don't care about the red tape. I'm gonna go help them.
Right. A real hero.
Yeah, exactly. Set it up for to be like kind of again be that inspiration of like, here, hey, this is what we should be doing.
Yeah, because I mean, I could see like eventually when Batman comes in the picture, I think that might be like a complete opposite of what the Snyder version was, where it's like he'll want to help him because he sees that he has
exactly he
overcome
sees
stuff like that.
Yeah, he sees like, hey, this guy doesn't care about all the BS and all that too. I like this guy.
Yeah.
What is that? He's a rebel or whatever. What were him and Lois saying? We're punk.
Oh yeah,
He's
Punk.
like, yeah, maybe that's
tried to insert a lot of Punk. I think the Ramones was in there and
yeah,
everything
yeah,
too.
yeah. They were playing on that quite a bit too. So since we're on it, let's talk Justice Gang. Let's start off with Mr. Terrific. I think a lot of people are talking about Mr. Terrific in this one. I think maybe the standout of the Justice Gang, perhaps. I think he got a lot more to do than the other members of the Justice Gang. I liked him. He came off sometime where his kind of attitude or voice was kind of like not assertive. I wouldn't say angry black man, but assertive black man.
I mean, he was snarky at times.
Yeah, he was snarky. Well, I think it goes to kind of the same thing with Lex Luthor. It was like Mr. Terrific is known for his intelligence, so he's like, well, I know I'm the smartest one, so I'm like,
he's
that confidence.
He's looking at how everybody's looking at him, not knowing how smart he actually is.
He's like, you need any help? He's like, I'm goddamn Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was just that confidence, in the character. I mean, I don't know the Mr. Terrific character that well.
I know he's more of a JSA character than a Justice League.
Yeah. And because the only thing I think my biggest exposure to Mr. Terrific was in the show Arrow.
Yeah.
Which was a little different as far as that goes. So I don't really know.
One of the reasons why he hasn't really been a member of Justice League just because Batman's there, and Batman's pretty much the same thing as he does almost. Gadgets and smarts and stuff like that.
That's true. Yeah. I can see him hang out more JSA. So, but yeah, I mean, I like the character. I thought he provided a good role for the film. Of course, curious how they're going to use them in future projects down the line.
Yeah.
Okay. Hot Girl. A lot of people are complaining she didn't do much. I think. Here's what I'm saying.
That's her character in a nutshell, though.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, in the comics, her biggest thing is her connection to Hawkman and kind of their story.
I never really understood why Justice League always used Hawk Girl, not Hawkman. I mean, I know Hawkman is more JSA and everything, but
DEI,
at the same time, it's all like he's one of the front runner, heroes for DC and everything. Why wouldn't he be on Justice League?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of people, because here's one thing I get is like a lot of reviews I hear is like, yes, this film has a lot of characters, and some people think basically the fact that every character didn't really get a storyline or something really to do. And to me, I'm like, well, this is just part of the bigger universe.
Right,
okay,
setting things up. Actually, I thought the Justice League gang was kind of small. I thought they should have used a couple more people,
possibly
3 people for a team.
And well, I'm just with Hawk Girl, I'm like, okay, yeah, she didn't do a lot this movie, but this is just setting her up to use her more down the line for a Justice Gang movie or whatever they're going to do.
Have her meet Jon Stewart or something.
Yeah. And, of course, because we're going to get Jon Stewart coming up in Lanterns. And, of course, I've seen stuff online now with people putting their pictures side by side and starting to ship them and all that, So, yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, well, this character didn't get enough attention. This character didn't get enough attention. I'm like, it's part of a bigger universe. They're just introducing the characters so that we can, give them bigger storylines down the road.
Yeah.
It's kind of with that. Now, did they ever say Guy Gardner in the movie? Because I referred to him as Green Lantern. I'm not sure if they ever said Guy Gardner.
I think they called him Guy at one point.
They might have. I'd never heard him. I didn't hear him at all called Guy.
Yeah.
I know that they said Green Lantern several times, which is fine.
I read Nathan Fillion insisted that he get that haircut too.
Yes, I read that too. Where he said no, I want the Guy Gardner haircut is what he said. I know, right? It's hilarious, and I love it. So, okay, again, going back to an interview he said where they're like, okay, why do your characters do what they do? And they were interviewing him, right? And then the guy who played Mr. Terrific said, well, Mr. Terrific really just wants something to do. He's so smart, he's probably bored, so he wants something to do. Hawk Girl, the girl who plays Hawk Girl, is like, well, she wants an excuse to let out all of her anger and hurt people. So I'm like, okay, great. And like, well, what does Guy Gardner want? And he's like, oh, he wants like probably like the fame and the recognition. And Nathan Fillion said the fame, the recognition, and to open up a bar. Which Guy Gardner opens up that bar in the comics.
Oh yeah,
remember? Yeah. And it gets blown up in Rebirth.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, Nathan dropping this cannon. Yeah, buddy. All right, that's what I love, that he knows what he's talking about.
You seen him and Alan Tudyk are getting their own podcast or something?
Yeah, I saw they're getting their own. Yeah,
Two Guys in Space or something like that. It's called, I think.
Yeah, and then I heard too that Nathan Fillion, he's going to be in the Lantern series.
Yeah,
and he said Nathan Fillion said he's dropped more F-bombs in that show than any show he's ever worked on.
It's a cable show.
Yeah, cable's an HBO Max show, so we can do. I think it's going to have a lot of edge to it.
Oh yeah,
with that. So
I know they're going to be avoiding Ryan Reynolds' version as much as possible. So
yeah, I'm sure they will.
all you need is Kyle Rayner, by the way, and you got all four of them right there.
Gosh, well, there's more than four now.
Yeah, but the four has been the main ones.
The four, you have your core four, but the last couple of years, there's too many now in my opinion. Because now you have like
Simon Baz,
Jessica Cruz, Teen Lantern, and all that.
But didn't she grow up?
No, she's still a teen. I just read it. She's in the Green Lantern Corps issue that came out, and she's still a teen.
Huh. Okay.
But no, there's another girl that looks like her with like the triangle glasses.
Visor.
Totally different character.
Oh, okay.
Totally different. That's what I'm saying. They have so many human Green Lanterns now.
I mean, they already get enough shit that they got all these Green Lanterns on Earth. It's all like we got more and more.
I know. I like the Core Four. That's because we grew up in the Core Four, so
right.
I totally understand that. All right, Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult. What do you got?
I thought he did a good job. I mean, I think he kills like any role that he gets. So
I want to read. Okay, I saved this. Somebody posted his monologue earlier. But
I mean, it just adds so much to his character that he didn't get Superman.
So here's his monologue at the end when he has Ultraman beating Superman. His monologue is, "I'm aware envy consumes my every waking moment. I know when they mention Galileo or Einstein or one of these other twits in the same breath as me, I feel a tight vomit burn in the back of my throat. But at least Galileo did something. He wasn't some dopey, illusional, catapulted onto this earth just to have the whole world fawn over him because his strength illuminates how weak we really are. My envy is a calling. It is the sole hope for humanity because it is what has driven me to annihilating you." And that, to me, that kind of sums up how Lex feels about Superman, where he's like, Superman didn't do anything to earn this admiration. Is kind of what he's saying in that monologue, I feel like. So he's like, you don't deserve all these people looking up to you. I've worked my whole life to get where I am, to people to look up to me, and you just pop up, and all of a sudden everyone looks up to you.
I bet he hates influencers.
Oh, yeah. God, yeah. Well, I mean, look at the way he treats his own people. Like, he's knocking over cups just to watch them pick stuff up.
Right.
He knocks over these cups just to see the power he has over them.
Yeah.
It's crazy, But yeah, Nicholas Hoult, I mean, he's a great actor going all the way back. So I remember, I think first thing I saw him in was that Hugh Grant movie About a Boy, where he played the boy. Oh, yeah. It's the first time I remember seeing him. And of course, he's been in the X-Men movies and all these other movies. Great actor. When they cast him, I said, you know what? Great. He's a great actor. I know whatever he does, he's going to do a great job of it. Perfect. And I think he did a great job,
I wonder how Marvel feels about that. Another one of their actors defected. It's like,
well, 20th Century Fox.
Back and forth.
It's all right. They got their beast. They're bringing back Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah. Yeah, I even read an interview. He was saying how much better he thought Kelsey Grammer's Beast was than his.
Yeah, well, I mean, when they cast Kelsey Grammer as Beast, I was like, perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
Frasier as Beast. That's exactly the same thing.
This new version we're going to come out with, I think, is mostly CGI. As long as you have his voice.
Yeah, exactly. Kelsey Grammer's voice. Thing. I mean, really, Kelsey Grammer's voice is really what I hear when I read Beast in the comics too. So that's fine. But
let's get some Dark Beast.
What do you think they're going to do with Lex now, though? Because he got thrown in jail. Is he going to stay there for a while? You think he's going to get out with his, army of lawyers?
Yeah, he's not going to stay in jail.
I mean, because there's so many times, especially in the comics or even in other media, where Lex is like,
I mean, that happened in the Batman Superman. He was in jail.
yeah, and there's something like, say, Superman the movie, he was just a criminal hiding out underneath Metropolis, where it was like he goes back and forth between them making him like a criminal on the run to the billionaire in the public eye. It kind of goes back and forth a little bit to where
Right.
I can see it where, like, with this one, he's going to get his army of lawyers, he's going to thick away out of it and pretty much be back to where he was.
I mean, if they're going to do this Justice League right, they need to do Legion of Doom. So that's what Lex needs to go out and do.
And that's what he was. I mean,
the rest of them.
Yeah, he needs to get his Legion of Doom going. I can see that going on. Here's my thing about that as well too. I do not want to see a Justice League movie anytime soon.
I mean, you don't, but I think if it's done right,
I want to see.
I think your faith just needs to be restored in a Justice League movie.
I think that too. But and somebody was, I think it was John Campea. I was listening to him, and they were talking about this, where like they think like the next time James Gunn will direct a DCU movie will be Justice League, but it'll probably be further down the road.
What they should do is they should have an event movie. That's why I always thought Marvel should be doing. That's what they're kind of doing. Secret Wars, they're calling it an actual, but they got Avengers still in the title and everything. But I could see like having a crisis, and that's where the Justice League comes together or something like that, and not in a Justice League movie, but an event movie or something like that.
Yeah. I would much.
That'd be the best way to avoid that stigmata of the previous Justice League movie.
I mean, to me, I'm just like, they're talking about they want to get a Teen Titans movie together.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that will probably happen before any of the
I would love to see a JSA movie of some kind, as far as the teams. But this goes back to me too. Like when it comes to like Avengers and Justice League, the team comic books of those, I usually don't enjoy them.
Yeah.
Like the Avengers, to me, it's like, yeah, you get all these heroes together, great. They're gonna fight and defeat whatever, great.
I mean, really, if they're smart, they should like get all the kids lined up and everything, have like Young Justice or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get Teen Titans together. I'd much rather see that because for me, I've always loved Teen Titans, especially over like Justice League, because especially now where they're not you get that original Teen Titans crew.
I was gonna say you really have to differentiate because of that Titans show and everything too.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Is I like like they had the comic book Titans where it's the adult versions of the original Teen Titans. And I like that more than, say, Justice League. Because Justice League are a group of heroes that came together to fight, evil, whatever.
Starro.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. Titans got together as teenagers and grew up together side by side to where now they're adults and they have a much stronger bond than the Justice League ever had.
Well, I think they're more bonded just because they went through similar experiences and they're not full grown adults yet and everything. So.
I mean, yeah, but like I said, they are adults now. Technically, you got Nightwing and Red Arrow and
Flash.
Garth and Flash and all them. Like I said, they started out, they met as kids and then you grew up together, next to each other to where, again, to me, it's a more interesting dynamic as far as their friendships versus just the Justice League came together just to fight a villain.
Yeah.
Something like that. So that's why I would rather see a Teen Titans over a Justice League.
That would be pretty interesting to see like a Super Sons movie, like before a Superman Batman team up movie or something like that.
Yeah,
then the kids were friends first.
Yeah, but then you got to bring in John Kent or whatever, and that's going to be a little harder. You think we're going to get? Who do you think we're going to see first? John Kent or Connor, Superboy?
Well, being that he's already experimenting cloning, probably.
Yeah,
Connor.
And that's what I'm saying too. What I would like to say is like when he was talking about how he made.
Yeah, I thought he was going to say half me.
Yeah, something. Exactly. That's what I thought he was going to say too. I thought he was going to say that. And I'm like, oh, it's Connor. Yeah, but he didn't say that. So either way, okay, let's jump into Daily Planet staff. Obviously, that was the one thing a lot of people said too is we didn't get a lot at the Daily Planet. We didn't get a lot of Clark Kent.
Perry White was very accepting of that situation.
What situation?
Just the whole thing. The whole time he's calm as can be with a cigar in his mouth. And he's all like, well, we need to do this. Tell me about your story while everybody's panicking in the background and everything.
Well, and that was kind of the cool thing was like you had the editor of the Daily Planet who's, probably been in the business for decades and probably seen it all. That's why he's probably so calm and collective. He's like, I've seen it all. Yeah, the world's going to end. Because remember, superheroes have been around.
I think they were just trying to make it different from J. Jonah Jameson as much as possible.
Well,
where he's yelling and screaming at everybody. And
yeah, I think he's just like, look, I've been covering superheroes all my life. I've seen all these scenarios, and I'm like, yeah, it's just another scenario.
Yeah,
I think to him, it's kind of how I think he played it. We got a little bit with Steve Lombard, not really much of Ron Trope, a little bit of Cat, stuff like that. So again, we didn't get much Clark Kent, and we didn't really get much of Daily Planet, which I think people are thinking there's like some deleted
like
scenes.
We've gotten our fill of those people, as many TV shows as there's been, and everything.
Yeah, and okay, so
you want them to bring something new and different,
and that's kind of again going back to how people are like, oh, this character didn't get much time, this character didn't get much time, and I'm like, okay. We've had so many versions of Superman.
That's why you said like a Jimmy Olsen show. I'm like, we've seen Jimmy in so much stuff now at this point.
Kind of, but he hasn't been around too much.
Unless it's a Turtle Boy series.
Turtle Boy. I can see the actor in the Turtle Boy outfit.
I think James Gunn should spearhead.
Oh yeah, that. He would definitely turn him into Turtle Boy. I can totally see this
Peacemaker or someone in there too.
I can totally see this actor in the Turtle Boy costume, definitely. And that's the thing too, is like, hey, like I said, with this movie, again, one of the things that kind of, I don't want to say bothered me, but with this one, at the very beginning of the movie, he lands in the Arctic trying to get back to the Fortress of Solitude because he's been hurt, right? And then he patches himself up and then flies back to Metropolis to try to take the bag on again. So you're telling me he left in the middle of the fight, flew all the way to the Arctic to try to heal himself? Like, that to me, that doesn't really make sense.
Did he fly there, or did he get punched there?
Did he get punched?
It didn't really show how he really arrived.
I mean,
he flew through the air.
I felt like he was trying to get back there, but of course he was beaten, so he's wobbly. He crash landed. Right. I guess is what I say. But like, to me, him leaving Metropolis in the middle of a fight just because he's losing doesn't seem right.
I don't know. Part of that too is probably trying to draw away from people and everything. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that too, where and that's another thing. This movie, let's just flat out say it, they were trying to do a complete 180 for Man of Steel.
Yeah, it's somewhat, yes.
But and I'll say this too, is I was going to comment on this on the beginning of our talk when we talked about it. I was never a big fan of Man of Steel. There are things I like about Man of Steel. There really are, but every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. I pick it across.
It's almost like the science version of Superman.
Yeah, someone once said it's a good first contact story, but not really a great Superman story.
Like I said, when Zack Snyder set out to make that, he was going to make a great movie, not a Superman movie.
Yeah, so. I'll agree to that. Again, I've never been a big fan of it. I tell people, like, I want to like this movie so much because it's a Superman movie, and there are things I like. I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I like the cast. I like the way it looks.
Yeah, I thought it was acted tremendously. I mean, given the story is a bit long-winded sometimes.
The story is my problem. I mean, the story and the editing are my two biggest problems with that movie.
Yeah,
I think it's horrible.
This is what I was thinking. Actually, I was all like, what if we had today's story with those actors and everything?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, oh, that would have been a success.
Every time I watch that too, the way they do the flashbacks in that movie, I'm like, this editing sucks in this movie. Like, the editing is horrible. The order they put everything, it's horrible.
And the darker tone or whatever, blue hue,
and it seems, over the whole thing. Going back to that, like you said, Zack Snyder's going to do Superman. I'm like, the 300 and Watchmen guy. Like, what? I mean, Steven Spielberg.
I said Dawn of the Dead myself.
Man, I'm like, this guy's not known for his lighthearted, hopeful material, Right. So I'm like, I was weary from that.
That's what I'm saying. He was out more or less for the science fiction. Is what he was getting into.
Yeah, and because of this movie, it makes me appreciate Man of Steel more. It's kind of.
I was actually thinking about maybe rewatching the next couple days.
Yeah, I rewatched Man of Steel a couple weeks ago too, but it's like. Everything that it's
he had a better costume. I'm sorry, he did.
I mean, they're going more comic booky.
I never really liked the new 52 version.
They're going. I mean, James Gunn even said he talked to Zack Snyder about how Zack Snyder tried to work in the trunks and with or without it, and they had a whole conversation about it too. It's just like, for me, it's like these movies, they're opposites of each other, and like everything that one movie is, the other one isn't. I feel like, it makes me focus on all the good stuff of Man of Steel more, looking at this movie, and then vice versa.
Like, I feel like Man of Steel could like beat the piss out of this Superman.
Yeah, people are putting that. Why we got to be Superman against Superman now? Okay, why can't we all? Superman would never fight another Superman. Okay, they're all Supermans are good except for.
What about Zod? Zod's a Superman, right?
No, he's Zod.
Okay? He's a Superman like him.
Well, someone else, I saw a post online too. Someone said like, finally, we're hopefully done with all these evil Supermans because we got Homelander and Omega, Omni Man, and all these basically bad Supermans in the last couple of years or whatever. Like,
Right.
hopefully, this will bring an usher of no more bad Supermans and good Superman now.
I don't want to see Metamorpho again.
Okay, all right.
That guy was creepy, I thought.
He's Metamorpho. He's supposed to be creepy.
Yeah, I know the character. I've known him for decades and everything, but it's just, to me, he doesn't transition too well to live action.
Yeah, he's very sci-fi. He's very comic booky. Again, I think it's going to be one of those things where I don't want to see a Metamorpho movie, but I'd like to see him in some kind of teen movie or somebody else's movie.
Right. I mean, it even showed how his powers are kind of lame. I can't carry people while I'm flying.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think he has a place, and I think
I think he had a long time coming, because if I remember correct, this is like his first live action appearance or whatever.
Yeah.
I know he's got a big fan base too from like the old time DC fans and
Yeah.
stuff.
Right before we went and saw Superman on Thursday, I think it was Thursday, I tried to go back. I only got like the Justice League animated series has a 2-part that gives Metamorpho's introduction.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched most of the first episode. I didn't get to the second. And that's really how I know Metamorpho, is from those episodes.
Right, me too.
As far as that. And it's been a long time since I saw him, so I wanted to kind of brush up on a little bit. So I watched like most of the first episode.
I mean, he looks like a kid's drawing come to life almost.
Right? When he
all the
looks
different colors and everything.
Going with the theme, he looks like a monster. Gods and monsters. Yeah. He looks like a monster.
Like a comic book version of the Toxic Avenger.
I mean, you have Superman the God, and you have Metamorpho the monster.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, is I think people are kind of shifting as well too, where with Zack Snyder's universe, he tried to very much take Superman in the mythological Christ-like figure.
Yeah.
Where this one, I don't see that at all. Like I said, because I feel like this Superman, his personality and his attitude is very much more, golly, I'm just trying to help people.
Right.
You notice that too several times where he did he said golly or frick, or one of those things where like you want to say a cuss word, so you say a word similar to it. Mm. There are several times in this movie he does that, where it's like, a regular person probably would have said the F-bomb, but he said something similar to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, that goes to the optimism again. It was received well, but I think he did go too far maybe a few times with it. It's just like,
and there, everyone worried about the jokes because James Gunn with Guardians of the Galaxy is known for putting the jokes. But for me, I was like, okay, James Gunn, yes, does sometimes put too many jokes in there, but he's always got a lot of heart.
I think the biggest joke was the biggest shot at the audience.
Which one?
The monkeys.
Oh yeah, God, I love that joke.
Monkeys on typewriters.
That one was. I mean, honestly, I think he was poking fun at the Snyder Cult.
Well, I think he was poking fun at everybody, pretty much in the industry at that point.
Yeah,
it's all like, oh, this is the rubbish you put out right here.
Yeah, exactly. What you sound like is just a dumb monkey on a typewriter, right?
Yeah, it's like anybody can do it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, the thing I really liked about the movie is the fact that it does. By the time you get to the end, you're getting that hopeful feeling. You want to cheer for him. It's like at the end of Man of Steel, and you get to Batman v Superman. Yeah, people were like, "Yeah, I want Batman to kick his ass," or like, "Oh, come on, man, it's Superman." But yeah, I mean, especially at the end there, you had where the building was falling on the girl, and so suddenly Superman's there to hold it up. She gets out. He comes up out of that the smoke, and he against the sun. You get that shot, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a great shot. It's a great moment. It's like Superman's here to save the day."
Yeah.
And of course, then going back to, before that, where it's like the people in that country are calling for Superman to save them. It's like, hey, he's become a symbol of hope to inspire the Justice Gang to go do the right thing and not just play politics.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I think the message, like James Gunn said to you, it's a message about doing the right thing, about believing in hope, about being a good person. Yeah. Don't just do the right thing because it's going to benefit you. Just do the right thing because it's the right thing.
All right. I think by the end of the movie, I just felt relief that it wasn't another shitty Superman movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I mean, you even said it yourself. You didn't know what you're going to do if it was going to be a bad movie.
God, if this movie was bad, I was going to go to a dark place probably. And again, it does. I don't think it's a perfect movie. I really don't. I see its flaws when people are talking about it. I think some people are picking it apart too much. but I do see its flaws. I do see why some people don't quite like it as well as say I do. But for me, it's it's like every movie. You gotta weigh, you gotta outweigh the good stuff in it and the bad stuff. And I think there's more good in it than there is bad.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm kind of half and half at this point, but I do know that those Snyderverse fans are going to be around for a while. So,
I know. They're always going to be around. There's always people like that. I totally
and with that being
understand,
said, and we were talking about a crisis, multiple Superman and stuff like that would be the
dude.
banger. Is have this Superman fighting that
I
Superman.
mean, I swear, like you and I said, we were half expecting for Ultraman to rip off that mask and be Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
You know what? If that happened, that would have satisfied the Snyder fans.
Oh yeah.
That would have satisfied everybody right there.
What if it was the Nuclear Man?
Oh.
Come back.
I would have loved that. That would have been a deep cut
No,
too.
going back to Ultraman, a lot of people that watched the movie probably didn't know that the original Ultraman is from a parallel universe.
Yes, the original
not a
Ultraman.
clone.
Yes, exactly.
And I think he was just trying to steer away from that because of Marvel, their
Yeah,
multiverse thing going on right now.
Because when they have Ultraman in there, because like I said, you and I who know the comics know Ultraman is an alternate version.
That was a throw off having him wear a Doomsday mask, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean that goes well. I'll say I won't throw about that. But yes, the fact that I was like, oh, they didn't dive into the multiverse already, because you've seen the trailer for Peacemaker season 2, right?
Yeah.
At the end there, he walks into a room and all of a sudden there's another Peacemaker with a gun in the back of his head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are they diving in the multiverse already?
They've got to roughly explain what's going on and everything.
Yeah.
Especially those people who are unaware or don't see the Superman movie or something, are like, what's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. So
because I'm pretty sure Superman is going to cameo in there at some point.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it is going to hurt or help this movie where literally we're diving into this movie pretty much like if this was the MCU, we're diving first film like it's phase 3. Like it's already established. Superheroes have been around. We have all these things going around. We're not starting off with Iron Man gradually and building and building and building.
Back to Spider-Man, really. The first Spider-Man, Homecoming.
Yeah.
He already had his origin and everything. Everything was all set up. So it's like his first Marvel movie. We're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking just in general for this whole universe. It's like imagine if Iron Man, if our first MCU movie was Iron Man, but it was Iron Man 3, where we've the Avengers have already happened and we've already got all these other heroes going around and stuff like that. The fact that you're not starting off like normal, like here's your origin story. Now we're going to introduce all the other heroes. Now we're going to do this. It's like boom, hey, guess what? He's already in a fight. He already had this conflict, okay? He already did. It's like you're walking in the middle of a movie almost,
right.
Because you expected to see where he went and intervened in that conflict to start everything, and then he had the fight with the Ultraman, and then he went back to the fortress to heal. It's like we're dropping in not only in the middle of a movie, but in the middle of a universe, and some people are going to be like, well, I need all the setup first.
There was kind of a lot of setup in this movie, by the way.
there was. I mean, aside from the scroll we got,
other than that, like initial, him falling from the sky, I'd say there was a good 20, 30 minutes before there's another action scene.
And then that's what it was. I think that was good to set the world up. I think some people are going to still be complaining the fact that they're not spoon fed into this world. They're not gradually, escorted in. It's just like, here you go. It's like. It's literally, the euphemism of like, hey, I'm going to dump you in the deep end, not the shallow end. Boop, there you go.
Yeah.
Like it or not. Pretty much sink or swim.
But a lot of that setup, too, came from the interview. So it's like interviews are, ways of getting to know
people.
Yeah,
and again, I think, and I've heard people talk about this as well, is where like the first part of the movie, it took you that first 20 to 30 minutes to kind of settle into the world. Yeah. And I believe that, too. We're like, yes, we're dropped right in the middle of this world. And it took those first, once we get through that first scene where he's like, goes back to the battle, now we got to actually go back and explain some stuff to set everything up. And then, I think it took him, again, 30 minutes for everyone to get settled into it. And then we're off to the races.
Right.
Is what it is. But, yeah, I mean, I think I can see it. Some people having a problem with it. But at the same time, I'm like, look, X-Men came out 25 years ago. Since then, we've had the MCU, the DCEU, 100 superhero movies easily, right?
Spawn. Oh.
Spawn. No, that was in the early 90s. But I'm just saying, people have gotten used to superhero movies. They know who superheroes are. Everyone knows who Superman is, obviously. They know the basics of his story. So I think at this point in cinema, we're okay to just drop everybody in and say, hey, this is full of superheroes. You know what superheroes are. You know who Superman is. We're just going to start playing with the toys right away.
Again, you're going back to that comic book mentality where it's like issue number 6 or 7,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's like when you go and you jump into like, Action Comics number 1080 and we're like, okay, here it is. Here's your story. And like the thing I noticed this too. Okay, so with Marvel now, they'll give you the little, previously on, right? At the beginning of Marvel Comics now, for a while now, they've been doing the previously to catch you up, right? DC hasn't done that. This week's issue of Aquaman had that.
Huh.
Aquaman had the previously on Aquaman.
Right.
It gives you your characters, what's going on in the story, boom, go.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've seen DC do that, or Marvel's been doing it for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm like, is DC going to start doing that now too?
I mean, it's the pinnacle of any kind of salesmanship is you want to gather new people and have the old ones returning.
Yeah, easily have the most easy to access. And that's, when it comes to the MCU, that's what Kevin Feige, at least early on, tried to do, was make it so you could jump into any movie and not be lost in the MCU.
Right.
And I think that's something hopefully James Gunn will do as well.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you look at it, it's really kind of a Doctor Who mentality, because that's what makes the story interesting, gets new people in, was they keep, making them a new person, new story over and over again. But at the same time, those people that have been there the whole time, they notice those little things from like 30, 40 years ago and everything that's in there.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not like, you have to know it to know the story.
We've been talking this whole time, and I forgot to talk about the most important part of the whole goddamn movie.
I thought you were going to say you didn't push record.
No, you can see the waves going. We're recording, okay? We forgot about talking about the most important part of the movie. Crypto. Wow. Crypto, the super dog, first live action appearance. This dog, because James Gunn said, this dog, the whole inspiration, he said, from a lot of this movie was the fact that he and his wife got a dog. They adopted the dog. The dog, I guess, tore through their house, and he said to his wife, well, just be thankful he doesn't have superpowers, is what he said to her. He's like, wait a minute. And that kind of started his inspiration for the movie, is what he said.
Right.
So, and I took Nora, my daughter, to go see it on Thursday, and of course, Crypto was her standout. The Crypto is there for the kids. That's what's going to help them. That's what the difference between this movie is and Man of Steel. This is a 4-quadrant movie. Anybody who said, hey, how was Superman? I'm like, grab your family, grab the kids, grab your wife, go see Superman. If you were to say, hey, how was Man of Steel? I'd be like, go see it by yourself. Your wife's not going to like it. Your kids are not going to like it. That's, honestly, because that's why the Marvel movies, the MCU has been successful, because most of those movies are 4-quadrant movies. You can take the whole family to go see those movies.
Right.
And that's why I think this movie is going to work better than the DCU or Zack Snyder films is. It's a movie that you are just not going to go see. It's a movie you can go see with everybody.
Yeah. You can give it that excuse to people that don't want to see it and everything. Well, it's got this. And
yeah, exactly. There's something for everyone. Maybe your wife's going to take to Lois Lane. Your kids are going to take to Crypto, or, your older kid is going to like, Guy Gardner,
or your teenage son wants to be Jimmy Olsen.
Exactly. There's some, and that's what it is. It's a 4-quadrant movie. There's something for everyone. That's why I think it has the chance to be most successful. And that's why Crypto's in there. It's for the kids. He's fun. He's, going to sell some toys,
right? All
that stuff. He's selling dog treats. I see his face on dog treats.
Really, if he does it right, this should be the legacy character that carries over to all the movies.
Well, if you want to go there, let's go there. He's going to be in Supergirl.
Right. He's Supergirl's dog.
He's Supergirl's dog. Exactly. And in that respect, I loved how they set up the next movie in that last scene versus the post-credit scene. Because the post-credit scenes
both the post-credits were throwaway.
Yeah. And when I went and saw with Nora on Thursday, we stayed for the mid-credit scene because that was a shot with him and Crypto. And I was like, okay, we'll stay for this. Okay, you don't need to go see the last one. But then my daughter, who of course is trained to stay to the end, is like, well, what was it? Like, she wanted me to tell her what it was because she's so used to for us staying till the end. She's like, oh, we're not staying to the end? Okay, well, just tell me what it was. I want to know what it was.
Right.
Kind of like that mentality to it. But yeah, I mean, and it's the thing too. I was explaining to her Supergirl as well, because next movie you get is Supergirl next year, and seeing this character, how they introduced her, because I was telling.
Did she ask Daddy? Does she always call Superman a
I
bitch?
know, right? People are like, I love it. I call her a bitch, right? It's funny. It's her attitude because it used to be back in the day, Supergirl was just kind of the the equivalent of Superman. You have Flash, Kid Flash. You have Wonder Man, Wonder Woman, Wonder Girl. You have all these ancillary characters. Even now, you have Iron Man and Iron Heart, and then you have multiple Captain Americas, and you have Thor and Mighty Thor, and blah 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 blah. Yeah, all these characters are very similar.
Mhm.
You know what they've done recently. I think ever really since Jeff Loeb's um, reintroducing Supergirl and Batman and Superman is the fact that yeah, Superman or Clark left Krypton when he was a baby. He doesn't remember Krypton. Kara does.
Yeah.
Kara left when she was a teenager. She had parents. She had friends. She's the one whose life got totally destroyed. Okay, which is why she's much more messed up as a character than Superman.
Right.
So and then we saw that kind of setup in this scene where she's going out and partying and getting drunk because she's got a lot of pain.
Right.
Okay, she lost everyone she knew, and I think that's what's going to be explored in Supergirl, and I think that's going to be her character arc in Supergirl as well.
I mean, I can already tell you she's gonna meet Lobo at a bar.
Yeah, she's gonna meet Lobo at a bar. They're gonna get into a bar fight probably as well.
Yeah, they got to
But
fight.
I think in the short time they had with her, they set it up, be like, hey, Supergirl is not just going to be a female Superman. She's a different character with her own journey.
I actually read that was put in at the last moment too. They weren't going to have that scene in there.
I thought it was. I liked the scene. I liked how it's set up that she is going to be. It's a different character.
I like the scene, but at the same time, you could tell that the actors were not in the same room.
I could see that.
They're shot two totally different times.
That's fine. That's fine. Again, I liked it wasn't a post-credit scene. I like how they set it up. For me, did it get you more interested in seeing Supergirl?
I mean, not really.
No.
I was going to watch
I mean,
it regardless.
obviously, you're going to watch it no matter what. We're fanboys. That's what we do. Okay, but did it move the needle at all for you to go see Supergirl?
No. If anything, it might have moved it back a little bit because I thought that was total disrespect. I've never seen Supergirl call him a bitch in the comics.
Oh, I loved it. Again, we're establishing Clark's going out of his way the whole movie to try to be nice to everyone. In comes his cousin and calls him a bitch.
It's like your only living relatives right there. Why are you going to be all hostile with them?
Yeah, exactly. Are you kidding me? It's family. You're the most hostile with your family. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times my wife and her sister go at each other's throats all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You're the most hostile with the people you're the closest to.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So, but yeah, to me, it did move the needle a little more with Supergirl and what they're going to do with her in the next movie, because that's the next movie we're going to get. I think it's the only movie we're going to get next year as far as DCU, because we have Peacemaker season 2 coming out this year, and then next year we have Supergirl and Lanterns coming out next year.
No.
I don't think they've officially announced anything beyond that coming out, do they?
No.
They said they have several things in development, but they haven't announced actual dates for things.
Batman Part 2 coming in 2030.
If that, we'll see. It's funny because people were talking, and this is a question too, I guess we can dive into, is people were saying, okay, Superman comes out, okay? Do you think if this film comes out, because it seems to be getting mostly positive reviews, seems like it's going to do well at the box office, do you think this is going to help or hurt the chances of Batman Part 2 coming out quicker or not at all?
I don't think it's going to affect it at all.
At all?
No, I mean that was already a project up and going like years before Superman was ever going.
I mean, I heard now that I guess the reason it took so long because Matt Reeves was having health issues.
I heard something about that a while ago too, but it's all like, why wouldn't you come out and say that rather than let all the fans berate you on how late it's being and everything?
Right, exactly. I know, but it's one of those things where I don't think Matt Reeves is the type of guy who cares. He's like, whatever, I'm gonna do, and that's James Gunn was defending him. He's like, dude, just let him work. Quit trying to badger him to get done faster. Just let him work. He'll get the script when he gets the script.
All I can say is if he makes another detective story like that again, I'm not watching at all.
Hey, well, we will dive into that bat suit when we get to it, my friend. It is what it is. And again, that's one thing I like. James Gunn keeps saying it's about the scripts. It's about the story. Nothing gets greenlit without having a solid script first.
Yeah, he said he expects to read 2 Batman scripts within the coming months.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I mean, like I said, they're still working on the script for. I'm curious. I mean, man, I don't know. I still say we shouldn't have 2 Batman at the same time.
Well, yeah. I
I
mean,
don't think we should. I mean, I want. I mean, versus you, I like the Batman. I want to see more of it.
I mean,
But
based on this Superman, we're going to get a very comic accurate Batman. Is what I would say,
and
especially style wise.
the reason I say it is this: going back to Star Wars, okay, Force Awakens came out, right, and the guys I worked with, they're not they talk to me about Star Wars, but they're not too familiar with it or whatever, right? They say Star Wars, and then Rogue One came out, and this guy who was probably 50s or whatever, he's like, so this is a sequel to Force Awakens, right? And this the girl is the girl from the last one, right? And I'm like, no, it's not. And people are like, oh, people are smart, they'll get that it's 2 different Batmans. And I'm like, the general audience I don't think will either A, not know that, or B, like it.
Yeah.
I think fanboys will be fine with it. People that are in the know, that are in this world, will be fine with it. But the general audience will be either confused or disinterested by it. And I think that's going to hurt. It would hurt them. Because in order for these movies to be successful, you need to capture your general audience. That's why the Snyderverse failed, because they didn't capture the general audience. This film, I think, is succeeding because, like I said, 4 quadrants capturing the general audience.
Yeah.
And I think that will be a problem if you try to have 2 Batmans at the same time.
I don't know. I don't think you're giving the audience enough credit because I mean we've had multiple iterations of characters on screen at the same time because that is part of filmmaking too is how smart or dumb you think the audience is.
Yeah, and I will say this movie gives the audience a lot of credit too, where it's like I just go back to like, hey, we've had 25 years of lots of superhero movies, and it expects everyone to be on board with superheroes and Superman already, and to just dive right in.
Right.
I think again, just trusting the audience that they know enough about what's going on to just dive in the middle of the adventure. And I mean, I don't know, just like based off what I know about people that I interact with who don't know much, I'm like, I don't know about 2 Batmans. I don't know about that. I'm fine with it. Because I want to honestly, I want to see the Brave and the Bold. Do I want to see it more than Batman Part 2? That's a question.
That is not a question for me, by the
I know
way.
it's not a question, but it's again going back to Superman, where they introduced John Kent. It was, one of those things too. I mean, as a Spider-Man fan, one more day or whatever.
I liked it because it was growth. That is one thing
and that's what I'm saying.
that
Growth.
Comics has been stunted on a lot.
Yes, they want to keep the status quo.
Yeah, over the last few years.
And that's what I liked when they introduced John Kent. It was growth, okay? When they got, Peter Parker and Mary Jane, and they were the best Spider-Man comic, or one of the few ones I've read in the last 10 years was Renew Your Vows. Why? Because it was the gradual progression of Peter's life, for him to have kids and, move on. Even Ultimate Spider-Man, again, too.
That's why it is so popular.
The next progression. It's not like...
They're even saying that Ultimate outsells Amazing right now.
Yeah, so. Well, it's again, because it just seems natural, especially for people like us who read comic books our whole lives. We're like, we want to see change. We want to see growth. We're changing as people, as readers. We want to see that reflected in our characters as well. So again, do we want to see Batman just as status quo Batman? Or do we want to see Batman with a kid and have to learn something new?
Some characters got continuity behind it. That's more or less what I want to see, especially as an adult reader and watcher or viewer. Whatever.
Yeah, and then again, going back to Superman and Lois, I'm like, yeah, Superman's got a kid.
I don't want to be taken as like a simple viewer, I want to see something with some heft to it.
We're more I don't want to say the word experienced or more knowledgeable, to where like, okay, I've seen this storyline before. I've seen this storyline 5 times in the comic books.
Yeah, I got thousands of voices in my head.
Yeah, exactly. It's something like that. Exactly. Okay, I think we covered most of it, man. Anything else you want to cover?
I don't know. You can almost turn this into a movie.
Dude, I you know me. I could sit and talk Superman. I always tell people there are 3 things that I could geek out about nonstop. 1 is Star Wars, 2 is X-Men, 3 is Superman. You get me going on those 3 things. There's a guy I work with, okay? he's a Star Wars fan, loves the prequels because he's mid-20s, right? But he'll come to me and start talking Star Wars. Next thing I know, it's been a half hour, and I've just been rambling about Star Wars. I tell him, like, he'll come up to me sometimes, be like, "Go away! I got work to do. I can't talk Star Wars. Go away."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I got to bite my tongue a lot of times when I'm talking to people about stuff like that too.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There are several people that I talk to. Like, there's one guy I used to work with. He was talking Star Wars, and like several things he said, I'm like, well, that's wrong. That's wrong. In my head, I'm like, that's wrong. I'm like, but I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm like, did you know that Green Goblin stole Peter Parker's unborn baby?
What? Yeah. Oh, the worst too is the fact that these people come up to me and be like, "Hey, did you hear that this is gonna happen in this movie?" And I'm like, "No, it's not. That's just some stupid fanboy thing they made up on the internet, to get their clicks."
That's the worst, is when people invoke stuff that's not true.
Yeah, all the time. All the time. They're like, "Hey, did you hear they're making a Mace Windu movie?"
Yeah.
No, they're not.
I got that a lot back in the early 2000s and the 90s, because I was one of those kids that was on the internet before a lot of the other kids were and everything. So I'd always get people, "How do you know about that? Where do you learn this?" And blah, blah. I'm just on the internet.
Yeah.
And now everybody's on the internet.
Well, and now for me, it's like when people come up to me with this stuff, I'm like, "Where'd you hear that from?" My buddy JR, who I hope JR listens to this, he's got he used to always come to me with this WeGotItCovered.com storyline, and it's one of those websites. They're right maybe 30% of the time, and most of their headlines are just for clickbait.
Yeah.
But he always gives me like, "Hey, they said this, and they said this, and they said this." I'm like, "No, they didn't. That's not happening." But he sent it to me, and I'm like, "Look, I'm not going to click on this and follow the trail because they want me to click on this so they can get the click. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to tell you that's wrong."
Too much time thinking about this.
Yeah, I'm like, I could click on this, follow the source, and prove him wrong. But if once I click on it, they've already won. So I'm not going to let them win.
I'm just tired of commenting on comic book stuff and people comment, "Well, you don't read comics." I'm like, oh, geez, I just roll my eyes.
Oh my god! Yeah, exactly. I hate.
And those are usually the ones that buy the comics straight out. Because like I had an argument with a guy who's like, "I could fit your entire collection in my closet," and blah blah blah. Because he's like, he even gloated that he has like $1 million in his bank or something like that, and he's all like, "Well, I bought this, and see, that's the difference. You buy the world. I live in the world."
Exactly. You may buy the comics, but do you read the comics?
Like, I go to the shop every week, bud. You don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what is it? What is the Bane line? He's like, "You adapted the dog. I was born into it." that kind of line. It's exactly too. And I'm just going to touch on this just a little bit, where we talk about how people are saying everything's woke now, and it's one of those things where it's like it's always been woke. Okay, Star Wars, Star Trek, X-Men, Superman, they've always been woke. Okay,
I just hate when humanity learns a new term and then everybody uses it like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, like, I hate the fact that now anytime something comes up that is against, like, this is going to speak of society as a general, but anything that doesn't agree with what you agree in, you consider it bad. I'm like, well, where did this come from? I'm like, no, it's always been there. You're just now noticing it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just everybody has a preference nowadays.
Exactly, a preference. And people want their preference to be the preference. It's like, going back years now with fanboys, we're like, "Oh, well, I like Man of Steel, and if you don't like Man of Steel, you're stupid."
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that mentality. Like, I don't really like Man of Steel, but if you like Man of Steel, I can see, like, that's one thing with me and my wife, where it's like, I tell people, like, the reviews I've been watching on Superman, I want to know the people that didn't like the movie and why they didn't like it. I want to know what their reason is, because a lot of times they'll say, "I didn't like this, I didn't like that," and I'm like, I can see why that. I can see that. I can see their point of view.
Did you see starting out before the movie came out? It was like there was a lot of Snyderverse fans that were trying to kind of rig the ratings on it and everything.
Yes, exactly.
Because I seen some people talking trash about it. I was just like, it can't be that bad.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm the type of person is like, okay, you disagree with me. Tell me why you disagree with me. And if I feel like those are valid, I totally will understand that. Right. People who like the Snyder films, I can see the value in them. So I'm like, okay, great. You like them. I see why you like them. I think those things are totally valid. And if I tell you why I don't like it, and there's some value to it, accept that, and don't just call me idiot.
Right.
So that's just kind of the person I am. I like to.
They're usually snap reactions.
Yeah, I like to hear other people's points of view, is what it is. So, okay, I think we got Superman covered. Like I said, I could talk forever about this, but It's been an hour and a half. So
we'll see you next time when Dean Cain is on.
Oh my god. Well, probably the next one we'll do, I'm guessing, be Fantastic Four. We got to talk Fantastic Four, right?
Right. Fantastic.
Okay. Fantastic Four. I could do the Fantastic Four.
I think they say that like at least a dozen times in the trailer.
Okay, but here's the thing though. Whenever I hear Fantastic Four, you know what? I want to sing the '90s cartoon, the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards is plastic.
I want to see Spider-Man,
Johnny
Hulk, Ghost
is a
Rider, and
human
Wolverine.
torch.
Fantastic Four.
The Thing just loves to fight. I had that song stuck in my head so hardcore. So whenever they say Fantastic Four, I just go, the Fantastic Four. So that'll probably be the next thing we talk about. But
We better end
guys,
this before you start singing
okay,
again.
so comment below. Tell us what you think about Superman, what you like, what you don't like. Like I said, I want to hear. If you didn't like the movie, tell me why. Tell us why you didn't like the movie, because I want to hear it. I want to know what the different opinions, why you liked it, why you didn't like it. I liked it. I'm going to go see it for a third time. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I really like it as a Superman fan, as a Superman movie. So comment, let us know what you think, and we'll go from there, guys. And I think we're going to call it quits for right now because my coffee is almost done. So we're going to call it this, okay? All right, guys. Until next time, we will... What was my call? It's been so long, I don't remember what my away call sign is.
Red one out.
Red one out. No, there's got to be something. I think I say "May the Force be with you," but I don't know. Oh well, I'll think of something for next time, guys.
Krypton be with you.
All right, have a good one, guys. Later.